Good evening once again. This is Dr. Regine, and I'm coming with a new topic for each and every one of us who are parents or parents to be. And that topic is a topic that I hope is going to help many parents, especially those who are struggling at home right now. You know, it's not easy to be a parent. I will never stop saying that. And it's also a ministry by itself. It is I would say a task, it's a job. Sometimes we look at the fact that we are teachers, we are, I don't know, secretaries, we are CEO or whatever we do as parents, we remain in a greater job. The greatest job that we have is actually the one we have at home when we have the responsibility of children, because we need to make sure that they will grow to become young men and young women of tomorrow. So whatever we give them is very important for every child that we have that is on under our care. We've seen many times, and I've spoken about it, that God is the one who gives children. No matter what we do, we need to go back to our Creator so that we can have the tools. We can understand how to bring our children up in this world, especially in a world that is going so fast and things are changing all the time. And you know, many parents are desperate out there. They don't even know what to do with their children anymore because they have tried every strategy, they have tried everything that they were told, they have tried you know, things that their own parents or neighbors or friends or family members tried. But the fact is that your child is unique and you are unique, so you need to find a unique way to educate your child. Now, today I want to bring a topic that is very important, and the topic is simple. Who is the boss in your house? Who is the boss at home? Who is the boss? Sometimes I speak to parents, 11 o'clock, 11 p.m., you hear a baby talking. Why? Why? You hear a child talking late at night in a house. Why? I remember when my children were young. Now one is 21, the other one is 17. When they were young, um, I think it was until they were maybe 10 years old. Bedtime was 8 p.m. I've got a life. Hey, I have a life. Why is it that I have to be around the child, talking to the child, and instructing the child at 8 p.m. while I had a long day and then I've got to be there around? And no, 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 it's not happening. Who is the boss at home? Who is the boss in your house? The things you allow the child to do are not helping you, and they're not helping the child either. It's when my children I don't know, I think they went to secondary school, that I increased 1 hour. 9 p.m., the light must be off. I don't want to know. I don't want to hear. And I used to take their phones. The phones were in the living room because when they went to secondary school, I gave them phones. But the phone has to be in the living room. But now, when they reach around year 9, I start giving them a little bit of freedom. Year 10, I let them have a bit more freedom. From year 10, I let them deal with themselves. The phone, you can keep it, you can do whatever you want, but make sure that you don't bring bad marks from school. Make sure that the school does not call me that you were late. Make sure that this, because you have to teach them to become responsible. Now, this structure that I'm just giving you, it's something that I did that worked with my children. I'm not saying that it's going to work with every child out there, but if you don't try anything to give them guidelines, how would a child know where to stop, where the limits are? That is the reason why you see children coming to school, going to school, and they when you know they don't know the boundaries. They don't know when to stop. When a teacher says stop, they don't know. You know why? Because the parents have never set those boundaries for them. A child cannot be talking in your home after 8 p.m. when they are in primary school. I'm not even talking about those children who are still in nursery. They're not even in nursery. They are in pre-nursery, pre-care. I don't know how it's called anymore. You see, but we need to really understand that when we are not giving education from that age, I say from that age, before they go to nursery, what are you going to do when they are teenagers? They are the boss. You are empowering them from childhood. You are giving them tools that will go over your head, beyond. And sometimes it's because you want to spoil the child. You cannot spoil a child by letting the child do whatever they want at home. No. Now, it's important to talk about these things. Who is in charge in your home? The children are there. They are the boss of parents. Then if you know the day that someone comes and tells the child to go to bed, they can't obey. They can't listen. They cannot. And I will tell you that a healthy family structure is a family where the parents have authority over the children. I say a healthy family structure is when you tell a child, go to bed, they go to bed. If you're talking to your child and your child is not listening, you've already missed it. Listen, you may say, oh, the child is only 2 years old, 3 years old, 1 year old. My friend, it's getting too late. Because that child, when they are 6, 7, 8, they will make you buy what they want. And when they are teenagers, they will do whatever they want. They will leave the home, come back when they want, do whatever they want, how they want, because they have not been given boundaries. And the error that many parents do is when the child is now as tall as you, that is the time you want to start giving the child orders. You could not give a child orders because you were spoiling them. Now you want to give them orders at that age. You've got a problem. I think you yourself need to get back to education. And that's why I'm here today. As I said, I'm not giving an example so that to say that I know it all. No. That's not the case. No. What I'm saying here is what I have observed in my work as an education advisor, what I have experienced as a mother, what I have experienced seeing lots of mothers around me, as a pastor, as a sister to different people, and also in my family. Every time parents, oh, the child is this, the child is stubborn. Listen, my children also are stubborn. Is there any child who is not stubborn? There's a time when the child will want to test you to see if they can cross that boundary. Every child does that. But the most important is your response. If we have authority in our home, we are the boss in our home, we will bring a healthy family environment in the end. Because you see, every child needs direction and guidance. A child that you don't show what to do, how to do it, when to do it, is a child who's going to be lost. You see, the problem is that you're not going to see the child being lost at that age. It's later in life that you're going to see it. Many children, many teenagers, young adults today have no knowledge of how to go around in this life just because they never had parents who had enough authority to guide them. The parents were actually giving them more liberty, thinking that this is love. And now today, those children don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. And this is the time when the parents start judging them. But the parent would never judge their own actions. They would not recognize that they didn't do what is right. See? Now, we need to understand that parents are not above the law, but we have to behave in a way that is within the frameworks of the law, because the children are watching us. If you are not keeping the law, you are doing things that are not right, the child will do the same thing one day or another. But if you're doing what is right, but not giving the child enough understanding of who is the boss, it's the same thing. You are actually allowing that child to become a wayward child. And most of the time, what is a problem in families that have teenagers who are very, very challenging. I'm not talking about those who have emotional behavior attitude. No, those one need a proper medical support. Okay, I'm talking about those children that we cannot handle because of their character, because they just decided that they want to go wayward. They just decided to follow friends. They just decided that the life in the world is better than life at home. They just decide to do things that will make the parents very, very angry. Sometimes that's the case, where a child is putting all efforts just to make the parents angry. When the parents say do this, they do the contrary, just to anger the parents as the maximum they can. Now, I'm talking about those parents, and I want to say that when you're a parent like that, your authority has to be in a way that there's no ambiguity. This is not the time to show friendship, whatever with your child. No, 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 no. You need to be a parent. You need to be a father or a mother. Whether it applies both in a family with both parents or in a single parent family, because many people take it as an excuse that, oh, because I'm a single parent, I got no one to help me. Well, no one needs to help you. You've got God, and everything you've done was a matter of your choice. You chose to walk that way. You chose to behave that way. You chose to educate your children that way without trying to look at other options. So we need to really start understanding those things now, because if we don't get them, we will always be those people who point the finger at the parent who was absent, at the society, at people. And when we do that, what example are we giving our children? We give them the same thing. They will become those people who do exactly what they saw us doing. So now, I want us to go a little bit in the Bible because, of course, as you may know, I'm a Christian. I'm a pastor. I said it. So I read the Bible because that is where we have to take our wisdom. The Bible is our guidance to life. We need to find the tools that God said we can use so that we can live lives that are pleasant, the lives that are peaceful. In the book of Romans, Romans 13, verse 1, the Bible says, let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God. Those that exist have been instituted by God. Now, I want to tell you this. As I said earlier, parents are not above the law, and parents are authorities. And here, they are authorities in their home, just like a prime minister is an authority in his country. A mayor is an authority in a little town or city. You see, so parents have authority in their home. Okay. Now, our society shows us that people who have authority have responsibilities, and they need to respect the authorities. Okay, that are above them. The same way the children have to respect the authority that's above them, which is their parents. See, but now imagine when the parents themselves deny children the right to obey them because they want to be their friends, because they want to give them everything they ask. You see, so you were given authority in your home, and then you decide, no, I'm gonna, I don't want that authority. Let me just be a friend to my child. Let me just give my child whatever they want, so that they don't complain. I don't have problems with them. But you are not exercising your authority right there. Nevertheless, you remain an authority. It's just like a king without a kingdom. You see, if you let go of your authority given to you by God as a parent, the Bible says a house divided against itself cannot stand. That is the reason why you cannot find peace in your home. That is the reason why you cannot see peace between you and your children, because you have left the authority given to you by the one who created the family, who made you a parent to that or those children, to that child or to those children. I hope that someone is really understanding it today. Don't give up your authority just because of feelings, because you want the child to love you. You want the child to feel secure. There's no security in stupid love. What is stupid love? Is that love that you give someone, a child, everything, and then one day you stand there and call that child ungrateful? Who created that ungratefulness? It is you. How did you create it? By not teaching them boundaries. Because when you don't teach them boundaries, you don't even teach them that they don't even know when to say thank you. So how would you now stand and start crying that a child is ungrateful? We need to be parents. God gave parents the charge of children. We have the charge. At home, it is parents that are in charge. No one else but parents. A child can help, but it's not in charge. A child can help even with other children, but it's not the child who is in charge. So imagine those households where parents work day and night. They leave the brother, the big brother, to take care of the little ones. How do you expect mayhem, chaos not to be in your household then? No family around the world that did this, abandoning children, especially when they are still young, is at peace today. If you left your children, at some point of time, there's going to be a time. I say there's going to be a time when one or all will rebel because of your lack of presence. You're supposed to be in charge. You're supposed to see everything that's happening at home. You're supposed to help them. You're supposed to assist them. I chose in my whole life to work less, to gain less, but to be with my children. It was a personal choice. It was a personal choice. I could have had big positions that would have taken so much of my time. Like as a manager, I said no. I chose to work where I can be there by 3, so that when my children return home, they will find me at home. And I can see the results today because my presence, they knew they could count on me. Yesterday, one of my children was he had to do a file for his university next year, and until 11:30 p.m. we were on the laptop. I was sitting near him. He was doing everything because it said, "Mom, I want to do my choices and my options. Can you help me?" In fact, I did not even help much. I was just sitting there. When he asked me something, I answered. But he was doing everything right. But he just needed my presence. Now imagine that parent who works day and night, and this is the time the child is making choices. You're not even there. And then if the child asks you, you say, "Oh, ask your brother." The child did not ask to speak to the brother. They know they can go to the brother. You see, my child knows that I did not do education in the UK. I did it in France. His brother did all his uni here. Why didn't he go to his brother? But he came to mother. A child needs a parent because the parent is in charge. And this is something that we need to put back in the right place so that God can truly bless us in our homes. Who is the boss? You are supposed to be the boss because you've got the responsibility of that child. Be the parent. Let me say it well again. Be the parent to your child or to your children. And that means accepting the responsibility that God has given you. Because as a child grows, seeing you, they will have that happiness with them. And the happiness will help build their character. And it will help them focus. It will help them to become entitled, entitled to greatness. But the fact is that those people, those children that are not given boundaries, those children who don't see their parents every time, they feel entitled. But entitled to what? To attention. They become attention seekers. They become children who expect others to serve them. You see, they expect people to do things for them. Don't think that it's the contrary that is happening. No. The child who does not see the parents is always expecting people to do things for them. They're expecting because you listen, they don't see you as a parent. You're always out. But when they want trainers, you give them trainers, but they don't know how you got the trainers. They don't know that it's because you're working hard day and night that you got those trainers. You see? But when they grow up, they will expect to have things from people the same way. They will expect from others the same way. But when you are there at home with them, you can teach them. You can show them. gradually, so they understand. Amen. So we need to understand that these things that we do, the things that we do to educate our children should be very, 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 very looked at. We have to look at everything that we are doing for our children. You just don't take something and give the child and close your eyes. That is not being responsible. That is not being a parent. That is not being that person who is there for the child. Parents, some of them, some parents want to remain young, which means they don't want to act like their own parents, really. And what happens most of the time is that if you change your call of parenting and you change your way of parenting, you are denying your position of authority that God gave you as a parent in your home. You have changed the whole course of things. You have changed the natural course of things. You have changed what should be done to make it the way you want. Now, when you hit the stone, where are you going to turn to? Most of the time, people start complaining about the child. The child becomes like a little demon in the house. You see? Why am I saying that? Because the parents start just everything that comes out of the mouth of the parents are always negative. You won't hear the parents saying anything good about a child. But it's because the parent in the first place did not do what was right. So we really need to help ourselves and understand that we are the grown-ups at home. We are the grown-ups. And of course, you can look for help if you can't cope with a child. However, it does not mean that you have to give the authority to that person who is coming to help you. You remain the child to that parent. Seeking help does not remove our authority. Seeking help does not remove the fact that we are still parents. This is also another mistake that we can make. Let's see what the Bible says in Proverbs 13, verse 24. Whoever spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. You see, if you spare the rod, it means that if you're not hard to your child when they need to be told off, you are actually hating them. Well, this is God who says it in the book of Proverbs. See, because you are not teaching them that life can have ups and downs, life can be difficult at times, life can be not the way they see it or they view it or they want it. Things can be so different. So if they don't know what to do when things are so different, how do you expect them to be in this life? That is the reason why God says, if you spare the rod to your child, I mean, you are hating him. You hate that child, okay? But he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. So if you truly love your child, because what we do is that when we are not disciplining our children, most of the time we actually say that is because of love. Oh, I didn't do this because of love. Well, I was hard on my children when I needed to be hard. And even today, I'm still hard and very demanding on them because they still need guidance. They still need guidance. Until a child leaves your home, they still need your guidance. Even when they leave, you can guide them, but don't be intrusive. Let them make their choices. Let them make their mistakes. Let them learn. Let them find people who can help them themselves. Don't be the one guiding them into everything. Amen. So we need to really get these things in the right place. Now, we were given authority, and it's okay to say no to the things that we see that can interfere in negatively in the lives of the children. When you see something that is not right, you as a parent must stop the child. It's also part of that discipline that God is talking to us about here. Okay, so we need to really put God as in the center when we educate our children at home, because we are already in the place of authority, and our children need to see that authority exercised so that they can recognize us as parents, who are guiding them, who are with them, who are leading them to the right destination. Now, parents, as a parent, you can delegate. You can delegate tasks or responsibilities, but you need to have, I would say that you need to remember that when you delegate activities or tasks or responsibilities to children, you need to make sure that it is age appropriate. What do I mean by age appropriate? You cannot ask a child who is 7 years old that he needs, okay, maybe seven is all right. 5 year old who doesn't know how to cross the road, you cannot be asking them to go and buy bread. And especially in this world that is we are living in now, we need to be very careful. There are things that we need to, maybe this one was working 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 60 years ago, 50 years ago, but does it still work today? Can you safely send your child out like this 50 or 60, 70 years ago? I don't know what, 70 years ago, maybe there were not as much cars as we have today in our roads. There were not people abducting children as much as we can see now. There were not all these things. So when you give responsibilities to children, think about this. You need to know what kind of responsibility you give to what child. But you should not give make the siblings responsible for the well-being and the welfare of their other siblings. No, that's not good. And we need to really put back our situation, our position, and our authority in the right place so that God can truly bless our homes. One thing I want to mention that happens most of the time is that children are not supposed to be in charge of home finance or house rules. You give a child to make house rules, what do you think they will look like? They will look like what they want. See, I was the one putting rules in my children's room. When I went to their room, I said, okay, I see the room is not clean enough. And I used to have this ticks and crosses box. And every month I'll come at the end. But I will come weekly, randomly in the room check, room check, room check. And everyone has their name. And then I'll tick the box and I had put all the things that I'm going to check. I'm going to check the cupboards. I'm going to check under the bed. I'm going to check maybe the table. I'm going to check, I don't know, the bed. I'm going to check that everything is right. So if it was right, you've got a tick. If it was not right, you've got a cross. And then at the end of the month, we do ticks and crosses. If the crosses are, and they were not allowed to have, I think, 3 or 5 crosses each month. Imagine that. And I remember once, this is very funny, because at that time my children were sharing their room, and one left. They finished tidying, and then one left, or it fell. I don't know. The socks. The socks were on the floor. Oh my God! Comments. So the fact is that I went and did an inspection, and then when I left, I was there and I was hearing them trying to reproach to one another. Yes, why did you do that? You knew that mom would come today. Why? That's not fair. Now I'm gonna have a tick. Now I'm gonna have a tick. Oh no, I'm gonna have a cross. No, it's not fair. It's not fair. And I was laughing. I was laughing by myself because I thought this is good. This is how you make them responsible for one another. See? Well, of course, they did not raise their voices, but the fact that they were like this means that they care. That you're not going to make me take a cross while I didn't do this. You see? And then they have to look after one another. But after that, I said, okay, now I'm going to change the rule. If I found it, now it was a common. It was no longer names. It was now a common list. Actually, it gave me the idea. That's what I said earlier. We need to do things age-related, age-appropriate. And we see and we evaluate if it works, if it doesn't work. Listen, imagine me doing ticks and crosses on my children when they are 13 or 14. It's ridiculous. This I'm talking about, I think they were, 6 years old and 10 years old? Yes. That works. I'm not going to apply this when someone is 13. So I put one list, and they needed, if I come and examine, and the both will have the same punishment. But when they did well, they also had they had good things. Then that's the moment, because they are not setting the rules in my house. So that's the moment I will allow them to say what they want. You see, I will say, okay, what do you want to? Okay, you did well this month. What do you want? Sometimes they're like, okay, we want games, and I will give them the games. But at least they deserve the game because they did well. So I'm not just buying them games to give them the games and show that they've got more games and everything. No, I even told them at some point of time that the games that you're not using, put them here. We need to take them back to the shop, exchange them. So you just hoard, keeping things to keep things. Why? And if you look at my children, they are minimalist. They have exactly what they need. Just like myself. Minimalist is not just, hoarding and keeping things, hoarding and keeping things. Listen, abundance does not mean that you have. In fact, abundance means that your mentality is too poor. Your mind here, there, is too poor. That you want to keep even things that you will never wear again. No one will touch again. No one will even look at them. But you just want to show them and expose them in your house. Why? So these are what how I taught them these things, by making them responsible for themselves. Now, I want us to go a little bit more. Children should have age-appropriate responsibilities without being put in a position to carry a burden, okay? Which means that you are not giving a child a burden that is above his or her responsibility or his or her ability. If a child cannot do something, you don't bring them in a place where the confusion will grow. Let me explain myself. You see, children's brain take time to develop. Children's brain take a lot of time to develop. So if you overload or burden the child with different things, you're not going to prepare them well. You see, because they don't have enough time to see the consequences of their actions or the result of their actions, because you keep giving them things and based on the responsibilities that you're giving them. A child needs to take time to see what is coming, what is happening, and especially when they don't get things quickly. Let me give you an example. I remember once my son, the eldest one, it was until I noticed that he, okay, I used to give instructions, yeah. Okay, you do the dish, and then the next minute I come, I say, okay, when you finish the dish, can you bring your clothes to wash? Can you do this and then this? And then one day he said, but mom, when you say this, I don't know what to do. In my head as a mother, for me, it was clear that if I said, do the dish, do this, do that, that is the order I should give him. Okay, so he would understand that you just do it just do it. But he did not process it, and it used to make him angry inside. Until one day, I started noticing that maybe he's washing the dish, and then I said that the next task or another task on I add, he will sigh. Shh. When I noticed that, then I called. I said, "Come here. Why are you doing that all the time when I tell you to do something?" He said, "Because you tell me so many things. You want me to do so many things that I don't even know where to start." See? And I had to change that. I had to change that because I understood that he does not process it the way that I expected him to. He's the kind of person that is better to tell him, do the dish. When it's finished, okay, now can you do this? Some people are like that. So if you as a parent, you don't stop and listen, you will burden that child. So I was burdening my child until I noticed that his reaction was negative. But I listened as well. I didn't, sometimes I used to shout, because when I tell him to do things and then I come and then he didn't do all the things that I asked to do, I will shout at him, not knowing that his brain wanted one thing at a time. one thing at a time. I cannot change that if it is his nature. Then I had to adjust when I understood and things went better. So now when I talk to him, I talk only about one topic, do only one thing, and then after that, we can move on to the next. You see, the other one, my other child, it wasn't like that. I can tell him 1, 2, 3 things. He remembers them and he will do them. But the problem now with him is that he does them, but when he wants. You see? And I used to tell him that if I sent you to buy me tomatoes, you don't bring them when I'm cooking and you bring them at 5 when I finish cooking. What's the point? See? So we need to really, 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 really learn to listen to our children. When we listen, we will not burden them. We will not burden them because they've got different abilities, they've got different skills, they have got lots of things that they can teach us as well. But when we burden them, we are not actually allowing their brain to be in a position to process the information, to do what we want, and then in the end we will shout. We will have a negative image of them. Now imagine how terrible it is that you are given. I mean, imagine how a child feels now. I want you as a parent to be with me right now. Imagine how a child feels when they feel that you are unfairly judging them. Let me explain this again. Now, you told the child, like I used to do with my son, do this, okay, after this, after that, after that. And then I go, I leave. Then I come, I check that he did only one thing. And then I start shouting at him. Imagine the ill feeling in him. Because he's like, why am I being shouted at? I did what you told me. And I used to be like, but you didn't do everything. But the problem is that I lacked the understanding that he doesn't process the multitasking. It's not because I am multitask that my child should be multitask. Do you understand? You as a parent, you've got the capacity and the ability to be multitask. Not every child. Not every child is capable of doing the same thing. But now imagine how the feelings that he could have grown with as an adult if I did not observe and stopped. And I had to observe and stop when I started seeing him manifesting, which means that there are times when a child will tell us. Non-verbal communication says much more. He wasn't saying anything because he's respectful, but he was sighing. When I speak, sometimes I hear, You see? And I called, I said, whoa, this is terrible. Why is it that every time I tell you something, you go, It's actually something that is in his heart, that is not coming out of respect, yet and still it is in there. So I had to go and look for what it was. That was not the positive one. It was something my child was trying to tell me. You are annoying me the way you do. I don't understand what you want. Can you just give me tasks 1, 2, 3 in a way and give me time to do them my own way or whatever? So when I had a conversation with him, things changed. And it changed because I, the parent, changed. I changed because I am the one in charge. I am the one responsible. I am the one who makes the change. I don't expect my child to change, to become multitask when his nature is not telling him to be multitask. That's how we make children who on us. How many people, even as adults today, when someone talks to you, you're like, because you started doing when you were with your parents. But what does the means? It means frustration about something. I hope you understand my point tonight. Now, I'm going to give 2 other verses that we're going to see. They are all in the book of Ephesians. Ephesians 6 verse 1. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Obey your parents. Obey the authority over you. Children answer to the authority of parents through obedience. A child must obey. We are in cultures that teach children that they are free, they can do whatever they want. Okay, that's fine. And we are even in a place where if you don't give a child what he wants or you don't do what a child wants, they start even accusing you of bringing social services. But what is appropriate to do is that parents have to take into consideration the needs of everyone in the home, but at the same time, because they are the adults, they are the parents, they must make sure that the children obey them because they are the ones making the decisions and making the decisions to be applied in the home. So obedience is key. Make a child obey. I just said that I've got a child who was not. When I send him, he says yes, 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 but hey, he doesn't do it. Because it's not that he doesn't do it. He's taking his time to do it. And I used to teach him. I said, no. Sometimes I even called. If I call him, he will take all the time before coming. Until one day I said, listen, if I were calling you and maybe I needed your help, emergency, you will come and find that I'm dead. So I needed to go on extreme examples. I needed to explain, but it was his own way. But now I can see someone else. He's changed. He's changed. Okay? Because obedience is something you need to teach when the child doesn't have it naturally. But you cannot just let a child. What is it that a child at home is making noises and the neighbors are calling you, are angry at you that the child is making noises at 9 or 10 o'clock in the evening? That child is not obeying you. That child is not obeying you. Set the boundaries. A child under 5 cannot go to bed after 8. I say under 5. That tells me a lot about what parent you are. It says a lot about what kind of parent you are. You lack discipline and you are distracted. Because you want to be distracted, you take the child and watch the movie and the child is with you there. Or you're on the phone and the child can do whatever they want. No, I will tell you what I used to do with my children. 7 till, I would say from 7, they will do whatever they want, play. Around 8 o'clock, like 15 minutes to 8, I myself will stop everything. Take them in the room. Take them in the room, not in the living room, in the room. That's where we're going to be. To do what? Read stories. And as they grew, go to the room, read stories. I remember once, my child, I don't know, maybe he was 11, 12. He was already in secondary school. He will be angry that I'm putting the light off for him to stop reading. You see? They will read books like this that even me, I was scared to buy because there's too many pages. See? Because bedtime was synonymous with reading. And reading improves your English or your French or whatever language they read in. Because your eyes will and your brain will take pictures of the words. How many children today, dyslexic, this, all that. But what are we doing? Sometimes it's not even dyslexia. It's just that the child does not know how to read because they are not exposed to reading. Teach your child those things. Give them the opportunity to learn. Why would you let a child, 5-year-old, from 7, you've got to take time and put them in bed? How many parents don't even have intimacy anymore because they need to go to work, they need to be, the parents have become central, and that destroys the marriage. When that husband goes outside and start looking for someone who has time, because you at home as a woman, you've got time only for your children, and even the children, you have to keep them until 11 o'clock. How can you keep that husband home? How? 8 o'clock maximum, they are in bed. Now you can enjoy your presence, your quality time with your partner. Children should not be central. They are not the boss. Don't make them the boss. Don't make them the boss. If you don't know how to juggle with these things, you can lose your marriage. And people, and sometimes we just point the fingers. We point fingers. Oh, yes, that person did this. They took opportunity. But what did you do? So I'm speaking to my sisters right here, because many of the women make that mistake. So I'm almost finished. Let's take another verse, the last one. Ephesians 2, verse 4. Do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in discipline and instruction of the Lord. Exert authority in love, with love, in your home. That's what this Bible verse tells me. It means that what we need to do is that you should not push our children to leave. Some parents, you fight physically with your child. Who is the boss at home? You fight verbally. I've never had words like I speak my children, no, loud. No. We communicate. And they know if mom is angry, no one opens their mouth. Nobody. Even the one who is 21 at this age, if he sees I am angry, he's not going to open his mouth. So we need to be the boss at home. We need to instruct them. Because when we are neglectful or abusive in our parenting, what is going to happen is that we are actually bringing destruction in the lives of our children. Indulgence is not good. You need to make sure that you exercise authority with love. With love. Discipline your child when they need discipline. Tell them off when they need to be told off. Stop giving them everything, but give them boundaries. Teach them that they need to deserve things. It's not just about getting things because, that's life. You cannot accept negotiation in your life, in your home. Just even at work, can you be negotiating with your boss every day? No. Negotiating the authority in home is not an option. My home, my rules. So you need to teach your child. The problem is that my home, my rules. If you yourself, you don't even have rules. You don't have rules. What authority are you going to put there? You need to have rules. You need to have a system. You need to have something that works, that a child can relate and believe in. Not that the child looks at you thinking, hey, you can't even wake up and on time and you want me to wake up to go to school. I see you dressed up in pajamas whole day and you want me to go to school. Do you understand? The things that we do, the children will, they get them there. And there's going to be a time it comes back like a boomerang to us. If a child says that you're irresponsible, trust me, it will come back to you. Because they see it. They don't say anything, but their brain remembers. And there's going to be a time it will come back. So to finish, God has established his channels of authority. Do you know the reason why? Because through these channels of authority, he will bless us. He will bless us. So if you don't want the authority God has given you, you cannot be blessed as a parent. You cannot be blessed with a happy home. You cannot be blessed with children who are obeying you or who know how things should work in the world. Because you yourself have been neglectful. You did not do what God asked you to do. So once again, it's not about just pointing fingers at parents, because of course I recognize and I acknowledge that children can be challenging. Children can have their difficult character. So what I'm saying here may not apply to all these children. However, when it can apply, let us use wisdom, the wisdom that God gives us. Because when we are following what God designed for families, that will bring peace and order in our homes. And that's what sometimes we need. And things will work better. Things will work the way they should. But if we don't try these things that God wants us to try, how can we have peace? How can we have unity? How can we have harmony? How can we have children who obey us? Who is the boss in your house? Who? You or your child? Do you have a life, or your life stops where your child starts? My friend, I've got a life, and I have had a life because my children are not my boss. They know the boundaries. They know. and they've known them since childhood. Now they are young adults and teenager, but they know the boundaries. You see, you need to establish a system that works for your household, where your children are not the boss, but you are. And you love them even when you say no. It is still love. Because one day they will be mature and you want them to transmit what you gave. Because a child who has no structure, what can they give back? Even to the society. Man can give only what man has. I hope that you enjoyed this broadcast tonight. And next month, we will continue. In the meantime, I will appreciate that you share this if you were blessed. You have friends or family members who might need to hear this because they are struggling and they don't know who is the boss at home. This is the time for you to share. And if you've got any question, drop me a message. That would be good as well. Drop me a message through any means. When you share, you can also drop a comment and give me ideas on topics that you would like me to deal with next time. Until next year, because actually, no, actually, we still have one in December. So we still have one in December. So I'll see you in December. Stay blessed in Jesus' name.